What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Life with Lee. I just want to take a second on this Tuesday to make a quick video about mental health, since I did a little poll on Twitter, Instagram, like I always do, and asked people what they wanted to see coming forward. And someone asked about mental health, so I thought that'd be really interesting to talk about, since I've had my own experience and struggles with mental health since about high school. And so now, yeah, let's jump right in. So I don't know if a lot of people know, but I was bullied in middle school a lot. Every now and then it was very toxic friendships and toxic people, and I've always been really sensitive, so I took things to heart. I could probably remember every mean thing someone has ever said to me. For the most part, it just really leaves a little place. It just really I internalized that a lot. And I did my whole love languages, and of course my love language is words of affirmation. So of course, nice words and loving words is how I receive love. And of course the opposite of that would be mean words and, not caring things hurt my feelings. So having that kind of foundation coming from elementary school, kindergarten through 8th grade, on and off, I feel like that's when my anxiety kind of started. And I was always felt like I had to walk on eggshells around my friend groups, not really being secure because of how my friend groups were in 8th grade, 7th grade. And I would go 3 months having a friend, and my friend would be like, I'm not your friend anymore, and then I wouldn't have any friends anymore. And that kind of depleted my sense of self, and I always thought it was something wrong with me. So because of that, I was always afraid to be to this and be to that, in fear of my friends just not wanting to be my friend anymore. So I would walk on eggshells. If there was a conflict, I tried my best not to escalate it. If we disagreed, I tried my best not to escalate it, and just tried to be as non-confrontational and complicit as I could, in fear of losing my friends. So and that was something I guess that followed me into college as well. I always felt like I knew when to not say something or not say too much, or kind of limit what I felt, in fear of being alone and isolated. I never really liked being by myself. I have a very full family, very active family, close family. So I grew up with my sisters, my mom, my dad, and we were always with each other. If I wasn't with one sister, I was with my mom. If I wasn't with my mom, I was with my other sister, and so forth and so on. So I never really had to experience being by myself. And even if I was by myself, it'd be in my room. My family was, surrounding me. So that's something I struggle with a lot. And I was used to having one best friend to do everything with. I didn't mind having groups of friends, but I learned that I worked better in dual friendships, when there was one-on-one, one person for you. I learned that groups I didn't always do best in, because that might have been an insecurity thing, but I didn't always, feel super secure in my groups of 4 friendships or groups of more. It just felt like someone could be talking about me, and I was very paranoid because of how middle school had worked out for me. So that's when I really started seeing kind of my anxiety. I'm not diagnosed with anxiety, and I don't want to use that term too loosely, since everyone, anxiety this, anxiety that, but I know that everyone does have, a degree of anxiety, and mine is just a little bit more, but it's not enough that I was diagnosed with, anxiety by a doctor or anything like that. But so that's where I kind of saw it starting. It wasn't until I got to college that I started going to counseling. They offered free counseling for the years that you're here in college, and I had a really tough freshman year, really tough sophomore year of really just finding myself and finding my place and being okay with things that I wasn't used to, and dynamics I wasn't used to. I had a really close friend group my freshman year, and we did everything together. And then I guess it was kind of like a burnout. You spend all this time with this person or these people, and after a certain time, you just you get tired of them, or little things start getting to you, or little things start getting to them, and the dynamics just change. And for me, I'm not used to that. I'm not used to falling out with people I call my closest friends, because I was used to avoiding that. And because of that, it just kind of put me in a really dark place. And I was just confused. There was so much going on with being in a new environment, having so much freedom, drama with guys, drama with girls. It was just so much going on that I decided to go to counseling And it was such a relief to just have somebody that was outside of everything, that didn't know my other friends, that didn't know my parents, that didn't really know anything other than what I wanted to tell them and what I wanted to share. So it was just like a listening ear who was just nonpartisan. They didn't have any, any ideas on anybody else or any, ties to anybody else. It was just this person was here to listen to me. And once I started that soft freshman year, I literally have gone every year since. I'm now a senior in college, and I recommend counseling to everyone who will listen. I know a lot of people talk about how, talking to strangers is not really my thing, can't get into it. I honestly say that you should try it at least once, maybe twice, because the first time they kind of just assess where you're at. But I feel like you should try it at least 2 times to really know if it's for you or not. Because it really has helped me just being able to talk. Like, there's never been a session I've gone and had nothing to talk about. It's like, oh, my week was kind of boring this week. I don't really know what I'm going to talk about. Still filled up the entire 45 to an hour time slot just talking. Like, you never know what's going to come out. You never know really what's important enough for you that could be just like trickling back around there in your brain that you might not have known that you had to talk about, but here it is coming out in counseling, just wanting to be said. I did struggle with, I guess, we get pretty candid. I did struggle with self-harm, like in high school, which is why I have my semicolon tattoo. If you don't know, semicolon tattoo is, talks about, in the English sentence, a semicolon is put in place of a period. A period is put to end a sentence. A semicolon is put in an English sentence when you could have ended the sentence, but you decided to keep going. So this was kind of like a promise to myself to kind of, move past that and be better and be greater. So it did trickle a little bit into my freshman year, which is when I got my tattoo. I was 18. I just went to go get it. I was just like, this is your promise to you to do better and to think before you do it. And to, think before you do anything. So I feel like counseling really helped me, and that's not the only form of taking care of your mental health. I love taking bubble baths. I love, having a glass of wine, listening to music, relaxation. But I definitely feel like in college especially, and especially for the Black community, and especially for, young adults, taking care of your mental health is super important, because I know in the Black community, they talk about praying things away and, praying things away, as well as how I know a lot of the Black community doesn't believe in counseling. It doesn't believe in therapy. And, it's a stigma that's, white people things, which is, it's stupid. It's really stupid. You have to take care of your mental health. And if you don't, you carry a lot of things with you. I'm in a hospice class right now, and we talk about, different types of grief. And we carry grief with us for many different things. We carry the griefs of the world, things you see on TV that like affect your soul and your spirit. We carry ancestral grief, the grief of our ancestors through slavery that's been passed down to DNA and DNA. We still carry that grief. Grief that, something that hasn't been like a light shined on it, and that's something that we might have internalized and never really, really talked about. And there's just so much that goes into your mental health that you have no idea about, and things that affect you that could still be affecting you. Sorry, I got a text message, I got distracted. But I will say that everybody copes differently, everybody heals differently, and everybody's mental health journey is very different. But I also want to say that you have to find what works for you. You can't be afraid to go and talk to a stranger. You can't be afraid to find your healing. What works for you in your healing. You need to really be able to give yourself what you deserve. And I feel like everybody deserves, good mental health. And I can't speak on anything other than what I have experienced. So I don't want to go into depression. I don't want to go into anything like that, because, I have no experience with any of that. And I don't want to, give false testimonies or anything like that, and not really be able to talk about something I've never been through. So, but from what I have experienced, my anxiety has gotten slightly better for the most part. You know, like my anxiety is very strange. I will be like in a store, in an aisle, picking candy bars, and my stomach will hurt so bad because there's just so many options and so many choices. Recently I was ready to present for class. I never had, you know, presentation anxiety until I was in class, and it was waiting. It's just the waiting, you know, that it's about to be my turn. Stomach hurts so bad, you know. There are a lot of ways to deal with that. I journal as well. Keeping track of your thought, it really helps me, being able to turn back and be like, oh, you know, July 23rd of 2018, you know, I was really sad. And it allows me to really see how far that I've come. I've grown so much as a woman in these last 8 years with my mental health, this little floaty thing. And like my friends know, like if you know me in high school, if you knew me in elementary school, middle school, like you just kind of have to stop fearing. I was so afraid of losing my friends. I was so afraid of being talked about. I was so afraid of not being liked. I was so afraid. And the fear was literally crippling me and my best self. And I had to learn that people come and go, and things come and go, and people also stay. So like at the end of the day, the people that are meant for you are going to stay. The people that are placed by God are going to stay. Not everybody has to be a permanent friend. Some people are there to teach you lessons. Some people are there to be a little, you know, shining light in your journey, but not everything and every person needs to be permanent. And sometimes it is there to teach a lesson and serve its purpose. So I had to learn that the hard way and come to terms with being okay with that. And I've been so much better ever since. It's like becoming more comfortable in my own skin and being more comfortable being alone and realizing that there's nothing wrong with me in the sense of being alone. It really helped my mental health and being okay with just being here. It's like 6 o'clock in my room by myself, chilling. Like I used to, you know, what are we doing? Like, when are we gonna do this? Hitting up all my friends. Oh, my friend didn't call me today. We talk every day. Oh, why am I always the friend that has to check in on somebody? Why am I always the friend that's making plans? Blah, 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 blah. Like once you just, my mom is really big on like letting things go with the flow, letting things just go, getting in where you fit in, you know, like letting people be who they are for what they are good for, in a sense, like not using people. But if this one friend only hits you up to go out, that's fine. Like, okay, we'll go out, we'll hang out. If this one friend only hits you up for advice, they might need that person. So I feel like I just went off on a tangent. I don't really know where it came from. I don't really know where I was at a second ago, but that's just my personal experience with things that were like detrimental and harming to my mental health. And like I said, just being comfortable in your own skin. So I still can't really get back to where I came from with like my thought process, but just to wrap up, I feel like my anxiety has gotten better. Counseling has helped me personally, as well as, you know, finding, you know, everyone's journey is different, and I'm never going to be done growing. There was never a time, like I used to really say like, why isn't there a manual? Like, why can't I just know what the freak is wrong with me and, you know, figure it out? And on that note, it's like, just because you might not be diagnosed with something doesn't mean you don't suffer from it. So I don't want to like belittle. I don't like when anyone belittles how I feel about my mental health. So just know that like everybody's stages of everything is different, and that's okay. So I feel like that was another little tangent, but to come to conclusion, taking care of your mental health in college especially is very, very important. You know, suicide rates are crazy high. And just to get another little specific, like Black men, you need to take care of your mental health. You know, like the community hasn't done well by our Black men and their emotions and how they process things. And it's literally just like, who cares? Like, take care of you. Like, your mental health should be as important as your physical health. It should be as important as your emotional health. It should be and it's important as anything else in your daily life, because those things really do affect you. So before I end up going on another rant, I just want to say, take care of your mental health. You really have to find what works for you. and don't be afraid to kind of get out of your comfort zone and trying new things, because you will end up spiraling into a bunch of emotions you don't even know how to process, because you might let things get too bottled up. So that was just my little take on mental health and my personal story and experiences of what's worked for me, where I've came from, where I'm continuing to go. And yeah, I want to keep it really candid with you guys and just say what's on my heart. So yeah, hope you guys took something from this. If not, that's okay too. So yeah, have a good night.